When the ball's there, you have to be here. That's just, certain. But for someone like Cole Palmer, that's a bit of a free spirit, he doesn't want to be tied down to anything. And Glenn hit the nail on the head before the game. He looks like, before today, he looked like he was thinking about it. And when he thinks, it's not a good sign. So, he was back to his best.
I think the thing with a player like Palmer is that when you're not playing at your best, things start to get like a wall, and they start to enclose in you and within your mind. And then it gets worse, and then he's gone all them games without scoring. Now he's broke the seal, what I call breaking the seal in this game. That can be done in one game. All that build-up of many, many games are out the window now. It's just one game that takes a creative player to really say, I'm back to my best. So it's come at a great time for him. They're in a semi-final of a conference if he plays. And obviously they're playing Newcastle next, who's the biggest rival for them for the top 5. So it's a wonderful time for him just to go. He'll forget about all that now. That's out the window. That's gone. That's down the road. It's now, wow, I enjoyed that. I'm back to my best. Can't wait to get out and play again.
What he's got to do, though, Glenn, as well, he's still only reasonably young. What he's got to probably do is learn from this and not feel that enclosed. In future, he can't let it go to 17 games. There are easy wins. When you get experience, there are easy wins that actually get you out of these ruts far, far quicker than an inexperienced player. There's simple things that you can do to make yourself feel better again. And I think he might look back on this run and think, do you know what? What took me so long? There's nothing different here. And next time it might be 4 or 5 games of not Cole Palmer play.
There's a great point you make there. And with my experience now of being a player for so many years and the manager, is that that happens and you wait for that to come alive. Now, it's took a long, long time for him for that to happen. Too long. Now, there's 2 ways of doing that. You're waiting and waiting for that game or a striker, that goal, when there's a little bit of a lean spell. But that's why sports psychologists in the games today can shortcut that. I don't know if he's worked with a sports psychologist there or not, but you could have put that right way back. If he'd have gone and sat and spoke to him and started... Because everything comes from your mind first. It's your intention first. You don't just go out and play. Your mentality and how you think and how you feel is even more important than how you think. So that could be put back in very, very quickly. Particularly strikers, for instance. If a striker misses an open goal and they go in, they say, sorry, lads, let you down. They say, you're right on the Monday morning. You go, yeah, I'm fine, Gaffer, I'm fine. You wouldn't tell them that you're not. It's playing in there. It's in the subconscious. Now, that can come out with a sports psychologist. That's why you have them. Because mentally, the game's played in your mind first. That's the first port of call for any player. And I think he will learn from that. And the experience of it now, I put it right last time. It took me a long time. But that's why sports psychologists are so important in sport, not just football.
He's got personality. He's 23 this week, actually. And he's a sort of a character that would rub off in a positive way on his teammates, Glenn.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, he looks like pretty... Like we're saying, as a player, when he's at his best, doesn't care too much, doesn't think too much about it, It's, well, I didn't think I played... player of the match. I think there was better players out there. He's pretty humble as well. Let's hope he doesn't change. The key for him is not to change. That's the thing. Go back to analyse how he's played today compared and how he's felt inside and how he's played today compared to the last run that he's had, and keep that. Keep it. And keep it for the rest of his career. Then when, as Michael said, when he goes through these little runs again, he might get injured, come back 3 weeks later and say, right, I've done it before, I can do it again now. And that's where you have to think about the game to be consistent and play year after year after year. But he's a special talent. I just hope he doesn't start really thinking about the game until he's 30, if you like, and then he can hand it all on to somebody else during a game and give him their experience. Because he's a kid, hopefully he'll play for England like that as well, and just feel as if a manager's job then is to say, look, I really, really rate you. You can have 4 bad games and you're still going to play the 5th game. If you tell him that and he can relax and go and play, we'll get the best out of him.
Let's have a closer look then, Michael. Why was he more like his old self today with the Man of the Match award there?
Well, we've mentioned a couple of his attributes that are just natural. I mean, you can't teach that. For example, you're trying to find space, you're working outside, going further and further wide to get a bit of space, and you realise, you know what, if I get the ball now, I'm going to be be a couple of yards away from the side of the pitch at best. And he turns, he spins, he finds space inside. I mean, some of these balls, like that one there was one later in the game. I mean, he's seeing pictures before anybody else does, before he even gets the ball. And I just think we've already spoken about him just being free. In this day and age, look at this, eyes in the back of your head.
Beautiful.
I mean, how many players on that pitch could have played that ball? Not too many, and we're talking about the very elite players here. But I just think as well that in this day and age when everything's about data, everything's about, precise, how far do you run, how many touches do you have, where do you have them, what do you need to do, what's the best, area to score goals, all of these things you can get fed and fed and fed all this information. But I think if you fed him all this information, he wouldn't be half the player he is. He just needs to feel it, just to sense it, and just to wander into areas that he believes, and he gets just a feel, let's say. Instinct is probably the word I'm looking for. Nobody could teach me where to stand. When there's a ball about to drop into, I don't care how many managers or how many... No one can
did anyone
teach you
try?
that. No one can teach you that. No one can teach him to smell a little area of danger. If I stand in here, if I move into there, that's just uncoachable. So a lot of the things that he'll be getting fed, they probably apply to the rest of the team. If I was him, I'd take little notice of it, because he needs to be that free spirit. And there's very, very few. There used to be a lot, Glenn, I feel, in the game.
Yeah.
That type of player is getting phased out a little bit now.
Yeah.
And it's refreshing to see him actually be...
And great to see him back at
throwback.
his best, And that's the thing, he can pick a pass from 60, 70 yards, and then he can take people on, drop his shoulder and get the other side of players. But he's got both. He can take 5 or 6 players out with one pass. He can go past 3 or 4 players. And if you go past a player, then you're drawing another player out, and there's space for someone else instantly on the football pitch. But I think today, let's be fair, but that's not Palmer's fault. That's not Cole's problem. He's eating up all the space in the world, and he's going to hurt you with that sort of space. More importantly for the manager and for Chelsea Football Club at the moment, is he's now back to his best right at the time they need him. Okay, they've not been so consistent this year, but they've found themselves now right in the race for this Champions League, and they've got their talisman, their best player, without a doubt, just now turned the corner, and they're playing Newcastle next. Wow, what a performance he's going to be looking forward to.
On that, you're right, he is their best player. You say he's their talisman. In this barren run, there's been suggestions that he needs a little bit more help from those around him, that Chelsea put him under too much pressure. They're too reliant on Cole Palmer. So moving forward, can they add a little bit more top quality in that team so he doesn't carry so much on his own shoulders?
Well, they can, and if they want to go to the very top, which is, I'm sure, what they want to do, what they've been used to over recent years, then of course the whole team needs to lift their levels. But I've always been sceptical in terms of when people say, "Well, how did you carry that pressure? I can guarantee you he doesn't feel pressure. Did you feel pressure playing? I didn't feel pressure playing. No, that's what you're good at. That's what you want to be.
What about they're too reliant on him?
Even better. Even better. I felt 8 foot, and I'm only half of that before you say it. If I go out onto the pitch and I feel that my teammates are thinking, we need you today, if I sense that, then that makes me feel even better. I feel as if I'm going onto the pitch, as if I can't fail. It's not pressure. It's a responsibility. It's great to feel like you're needed in a certain way. No matter what job you do, there'll be millions of people out here watching. Whatever you do in your industry, isn't it great to go into your office or your factory or you're onto the football pitch or wherever it is and feel as if what you do is actually special and that not many people can do it, and that everybody looks at you and thinks, do you know what? We need you on our team, whatever role that is, and it takes a lot of people to piece into a team. So no, I don't believe that at all in terms of feeling too much pressure or responsibility. I think that helps you grow. But in terms of the whole team, it's the manager's job to get better players in.
Well, I was going to say, that's the selfish striker's playing point of view. What if you are the manager? You don't want to be too reliant on one singular player, do you, in a group like that?
No, but you want a special player, and he is a special player. And as a manager, you're saying, I want him on the ball.
Because you want better players around
Well,
him.
yeah, anyone would want. You want to be the, Zidane was a wonderful, special player, but he also had some fantastic players around him. Of course, every manager, every club, every player, Palmer would want that. If he could get a striker that he knew that would make them runs that Jackson makes, but he could finish every single one of them,
He'd look even better.
He'd look even better. The assists would go up even more. But the thing is, as a manager, you say, I want him on the ball. So you say to Caicedo, you say to whoever's playing that day, feed him, keep giving him the ball. Particularly now, he's turned the corner with this one game. Just give him the ball, because he will make things happen for us as a team, and you as an individual want to be successful. Keep feeding him, feed the bear, because you just want him to have more touches than any. We saw his touch map there, and he had equal anyone else on the pitch in the penalty area, but you saw where else he was picking the ball up. That's what they want to do. Even when he's playing poorly, even if he's one of them players, if he's not having the best of games, he's got that little bit of inspiration, that moment, that pass, that little bit of top corner bang, it's in the back of the net. He comes off the pitch, he didn't think he played that great today, did he? He didn't think he was player of the game.
I mean, Michael and I covered the game where he scored 4 in the first half.
Yeah.
Premier League history.
Unbelievable.
We spoke to him afterwards and he said, I was just fuming I didn't get 6. Didn't he?
With a straight face.
With a straight face, genuine straight face.
That's great. That's brilliant. I mean, you just keep pushing yourself. But he inspires other people, not by his talking and his actions with his feet and with his mind, football brain. And that's what you want in any team. And I think, looking at the international thing, I think, I just hope Tuchel's watched that performance and thinking, wow, we've got some player on.
Would you like to have managed Cole Palmer?
Oh, I think anyone would. Any manager would want a player like that in his team. He was up there, as Michael said, as less and less of them players. We've got a glut of them that have got ability, actually, with England. When you think about it, with Bellingham, different style, but Foden, and, there's a lot of creative players, but I think this kid now, with what he's done coming from City so quickly, when Chelsea were having a struggling time, he just elevated them. Now, to do that at a young age and move from up north down to south in London, and a big club that the owners want to be winning the league, they want to be in the Champions League, it's water off a duck's back with him. He just naturally goes and plays, like we're saying, and he's elevated Chelsea unbelievably, and he'll do it. I think he's timed his run into the box, if you like, the way he's performed today. Next, they've got 3 games left, is it? So, wow, it's a good time for him to be at his best. And
a potential European Cup final. Do you think, on Glenn's point, do you think there's an element sometimes still at City? There are figures where they go, we'd love to see him in our team now under Pep Guardiola, particularly as he's having to rebuild.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's incredible to think, isn't it, that Manchester City let him go now. I mean, they were awash with amazing players and he wasn't going to get much of a game at that age. But I think even Pep Guardiola would be surprised at how...
They wouldn't have envisaged this, would they?
No, he would be surprised at how he's gone on and taken that responsibility and done so well. Because he really is one of the elite players, and it feels like it's been a few months since we've been saying that, which is incredible, really. But he is still young, and I do hope that, we touched on it before, I do hope that he looks back at this run. Now he feels he'll go home tonight feeling $1 million again and can't wait for the next game. But I do hope he understands his game and understands how easy it is to not let a run like this get to 17, 18 games before you're feeling back to your best again. That can be nipped in the bud early. With experience, with the right people around him, and it should never happen again. He's too good to go 3 or 4 games without having a big contribution to a game. And I believe that, that 17-game run or 18-game run will never happen again.
I think the move was right for him from City, and clubs do let little jewels go. Let's look at Chelsea. Salah was at Chelsea. De Bruyne was at Chelsea. Yeah. When they're younger, you can't judge a player when I don't care who they are, even if it's the best player in the world, he ends up. But there's a lot of hurdles that they have to go through, whether it's coming back from an injury, dealing with stuff off the pitch that's going to affect you on the pitch, bad form. A little bit of bad form, showing the character, the team that you're playing. There's a multitude of things, and he's coming through that slowly but surely. He's nowhere near his peak yet, which is frightening.
Let's talk to one of his teammates who helped get their 3 points today. Levi Colwell is waiting to talk to us live at Stamford Bridge. Levi, good to see you. Well done. How significant a win over the champions does that feel for you today?
Yeah, definitely. It's a very big 3 points for us. We've got to treat every game like it's a final, and I think that's what we've done today. And now we've got to move on to the next game.
You had that long huddle before the whistle. We thought you were starting with intent. What a dream start as well inside 3 minutes.
Yeah, definitely. It was a great start, start the way you want to go on. I think we've done that today. We created a lot of chances in the first half and the second, and I think we played very well today.
We were just having a conversation there about Cole and the effect that he has on the whole group and his teammates. And to see him play to the standards again today, what's it like being in a team with Cole Palmer?
He saves us a lot, I tell you that. Even, everyone looks at his goals and assists, but when he doesn't provide goals and assists, he still does so much for the team. I think we all wanted that goal to go in, not just to secure the game, but also for his confidence. He deserves it because he's been an amazing player for us, and every game when he walks out, he's been the best player on the pitch, and yeah, I'm so happy for him.
Levi, it's Michael Owen. You've got quite a tough run now to the end of the season, but obviously big points today with a potential cup final in Europe and then 3 tough games in the Champions League. Would a trophy like the Conference League and Champions League qualification be a really good, solid season for you? Yeah, definitely. I think that personally for me, that'd be a really good season for us. Playing in the European competition, the Conference League, if we win that, that's one challenge that's been put in front of us that we've succeeded. And then to get Champions League football back for the fans, that's what everyone wants in the changing room.
Levi, Glenn Hoddle here. Congratulations on your performance and the result today. Levi, just a quick question on your position now. Are you pleased to be defending in a back 4, but then in a back 3 when you have possession? I think it suits you, yeah? Yeah, definitely. In a back 4, when I've got Trevor and Cuckoo next to me, they do most of the hard work, to be honest. I'm just trying to help dictate them a bit more. And when I go into the 3 and I'm in the middle, it's also similar, just give the ball. If I need to up the tempo, do it. If I need to slow it down, just more provide for the team. I think I've been trying to change my game recently instead of trying to look amazing and break lines and things like this. Just try and help the team and organise it from the back. And I think it's been helping us a lot and also helping me.
And in terms of the 3 games remaining, a couple of them look huge. I know you're going to take one at a time, but you play Newcastle and Forest, who are either side of you in the Premier League table at the moment. Yeah, definitely. I think that's the best way it can be, because instead of us hoping for results, we play them, we face them, and if we beat them, we get the 3 points. Like I said, it's a final. Every game's a final from now on, and that's what we're all thinking in there. Yeah, it's the business end of the season final, isn't it? It's what you want to be involved in with players with so much to play for. Yeah, definitely. That's what we all live for, There'll be a lot more pressure, but when you win, or if we win, it'll be worth it. Absolutely. Well played today. Thanks so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
That is Levi Colwill live at Stamford Bridge for you after Chelsea beat Liverpool, the reigning Premier League champions, by 3-1. Here is the Chelsea boss, Enzo Maresca.
All of that means then, as far as the table is concerned, it is a big 3 points for Chelsea because it means the gap between themselves, Nottingham Forest and Aston Villa, is now at 3 points. Forest, of course, playing at Crystal Palace on Monday Night Football. They go level on points with Newcastle after they dropped points against Brighton earlier on. It was a win for Manchester City, and then Arsenal dropping points might just make those teams below them think that possibly second place might start to come into the equation. But only 3 games left to play for everybody bar Nottingham Forest. Meanwhile, down at the bottom, it was a point for Tottenham, a defeat for Manchester United. So Tottenham at 38 and Manchester United on to 39 points.
In terms of the big picture, I guess it doesn't matter, but no one likes to lose, especially champion teams don't like to lose. So what did you make of that?
No, a wise man once said nothing good comes from losing a football game, and I have to agree with him. But the way we lost is more positive. I think I saw a team that was playing against a very good Chelsea team, a very good squad, so many individually, so many good players, so well organised. But we were able to have here at Stamford Bridge 65% ball possession, played so many times through them. But yeah, maybe we missed just that little bit, which we usually have. So normally we're also able to find the free player, but the last percentages in attack and defence we maybe missed today to get a result.
So what cost you that few percent? Is that even with the players out there meaning to give their all, trying to give their all, there's just the difference between wanting to win and needing to win, and today you didn't need to win.
Yeah, that is true. But if you look at how we reacted after being 2-0 down, that probably tells you why we won this league. Because they never gave up, even if they've already won the league and they're 2-0 down at Stamford Bridge against such a good team. We don't give up. Our fans don't give up as well.
They look like they thoroughly enjoyed their day, to be honest.
Yeah, they were loud again. So, we slipped twice in the lead up to both Chelsea goals. And of course, the third one was so far in extra time that, it's a goal, but it didn't matter that much anymore. But playing against a good team like Chelsea, you can't afford a lot, and that's what we saw today.
With one eye on the future, giving game time to players who haven't had so much game time, what did you learn today?
I think a few things I've already knew, but it's always good to see some of them playing now together with 4, 5 or 6 starters. So a few of them have come in many times, but to start, most of them started against Plymouth away, PSV Eindhoven away, and now to see them playing with the other ones gives you not new insights, but does give you insights.
Is it overstating it? Maybe you think this is over the top, but some of those guys who come into the team, are they playing for their Liverpool futures a bit? They obviously want more minutes next season, and they only have these few games to convince you they deserve those minutes.
No, that last thing, that's where it's about. They deserve to play these games because they've trained so hard during the whole season, so many times a day after the match where the other ones played, and everyone was so positive about them, and they had to come to the AXA again to train, and every time they did so well. So that's why I think that they deserved to play this game. But it's not the first time that I saw them play. They've come in many times. They've played the Plymouth and the PSV and some other games as well. Accrington, Stanley, and can't come up quite in a way for the League Cup. So we don't judge them only on this. We judge them every single day on the training ground and the moments they play for us.
It seems a bit odd almost to say this to a team that's just won the league, but does it feel like there's a big summer ahead in terms of adding to this squad, changing the squad? I did an interview with you on Friday where you were talking about you already spoke to maybe a few players trying to sell them the Liverpool dream.
No, it's already a big summer because we extended Virgil and Mo, and for large parts of the season I don't think everybody expected that. So for us to keep them is already a big thing, and we will see what the summer will bring. But I've said many times I'm really happy with the squad we are having. But it is also true that's the second year in a row these players are together, and sometimes can be good to bring some fresh energy as well. But last year we decided just to keep them all. So we will just see what we will do. But it's already been a big summer because we won the league and we kept Virgil and Mo.
And nothing better, I guess, than adding to a winning team. Kind of strike while the iron's hot, I think is the phrase.
Yeah, but only if we see a chance in the market, or if we can see someone who can improve us. And it's not so easy to improve this team because it's already a team that won the Premier League, that was so good against Paris Saint-Germain at home, where unfortunately we lost that on penalties.
Thank you, Arne.
You're welcome.
That's interesting because we were having a little chat over a cup of tea earlier on about this, weren't we?
Told you.
What?
What he said. It's hard. These people have got this idea that, go and get 4 players and spend a fortune and go on, where? Right back, you probably don't have to. A young kid that you've bit of time, if Trent goes, that is. Left back, I think Liverpool are going to invest. So Kirk, as everybody's talking about at Bournemouth. So there's 50, 60 million that Liverpool are going to invest. They might go and get a central defender, but it's not going to be 50, 100 million to spend on that. No way are they going to spend 50, 100 million to sit behind Virgil van Dijk on the bench all season. So that's only cover. You can get a free transfer. Everyone wants to come to Liverpool. So straight away you only have to spend big money on your left back. You might want cover at right back if Trent goes. But again, you don't need to spend massive money. I think Conor Bradley deserves a chance, so you're not going to be spending big there. If Darwin Núñez leaves, maybe Jota. You could argue that they'll get an attacking player to replace Darwin Núñez. So you might have to spend decent money there. But that's two positions, left back and centre forward. And then all you need is cover at right back. They've already brought a goalkeeper in, and Kelleher is probably going to leave. So there's another 30, 40 million that they're going to be bringing in. So what I'm saying is that everybody that think, oh yeah, go and change 5-6 players and strike while the iron's hot, go and buy loads of players. It just doesn't happen. Like, nobody will come to, no top player that's worth 100 million is going to come to sit on the bench. And nobody's better than Virgil van Dijk and Canate, really. So they're not going to buy a centre half that's worth a fortune. He doesn't sign. He's got a year left, but they all know that.
Would you? And he's fit now, and I hope he doesn't go because he's at my club, Van der Ven. And
if you could, yeah.
Yeah. So if it was going to pay for him, you'd have to pay money for him. But him and them, those two Dutch together. Now I don't want that to happen.
Hoddle sells his own centre-back shocker.
But I'm just giving an example that there's players in there that could still go in above the players that are there at the moment. You're going to have to spend money.
But Van der Ven won't go in ahead of what they've got. He might be good at...
Without his injuries, I think everyone would...
I guess what Michael's saying is the margin of difference. Is he that much better than
Canate? You're not going to spend... He's going to cost 100 million.
Yeah.
You're not going to spend 100 million to leave a top... what's Van Dijk going to do?
Back a few months ago, everyone was talking about the quadruple for Liverpool. The quadruple. They're going to win 4 trophies. They've ended up winning the Premier League, which is magnificent for them. So, we were talking about that. Now, there are players out there that I think would still improve that, the best team, add them to that best team at Liverpool, and then they'll go again. Liverpool have won the Premier League now, right? If you're Liverpool Football Club, they've got a really strong squad, without a doubt. Is it something that's going to dictate, like Man City have for the last 5-6 years? Are they going to go for the next 6 years as dominating English football? That's really where Liverpool should be aiming now. Now that squad isn't good enough to do that. So when you're champions and you're in the Champions League next year, if they add those massive, it depends on where the club want to go. Do they want to dominate like they did in the 80s and the 90s at times? Well, particularly in the 80s, again, and do what City have done.
So here's where we are as we head into the final 3 games of the season for everybody bar Nottingham Forest, who are at Crystal Palace tomorrow night. These are the group of teams who are going for Champions League football next season. Arsenal losing last night meant that maybe Newcastle have just started to put a little bit of pressure on them in terms of finishing in second place. But the gap to Manchester City is 3 points. Newcastle got the draw today. They're now level on points and goal difference with Chelsea. Play each other next week. Then it's Forest against Villa. And then remember, Forest and Chelsea play each other on the final day of the season. So there's still a lot to be decided. And obviously, the Opta supercomputer can't factor in emotions, and it can't factor in the fact that there are human beings involved in all of this. Having said that, what do you think?
I think the momentum is obviously huge. We all talk about it as sportsmen, footballers, whatever it is, and Nottingham Forest would be the team now that you just start to fear about, because the performance against Brentford was a difficult one for them to take. They looked a little bit edgy. I was at the game. They've got to get 3 points tomorrow on Monday Night Football. That's vitally important, just to put the pressure on everybody else. And then their fixtures, I just looked to that one, and Chelsea at home last day of the season. And I think right now Nottingham Forest would take their chances and go, if we can get to that home advantage against them to try and get into that top 5. Aston Villa obviously got it all to do. They're going to be relying on other teams, maybe dropping points. But this is a pressurised part of the season. You need a little bit of luck. Chelsea, to a certain extent, when you see that team sheet and you see no Gravenberch, you see no McAllister, no Soboslai, no Canate, you're thinking, we've got a real chance here today. That's the difference. You need a little bit of luck in how the fixtures are, maybe playing a Tottenham if they've got a big cup game, Man United. You need things to go your way. But right now, Chelsea feel like they've got that momentum, got a bit of form back, and Nottingham Forest at the moment, you'd have to fear for them a little bit.
Except that they do have the City Ground, which, as you mentioned, is the venue for the last game of the season against Chelsea. They've used that before in recent history to try and keep themselves in the Premier League. Can they use it again to try and get themselves into the Champions League?
Yeah, they've obviously come
places?
off it recently, but I think if you looked at Forest and you spoke to the Forest players, you said, would you took this as the start of the season? They would have been delighted. Sure. They've had a difficult few weeks, and again, we go back to Forest, the way they play. The first goal is huge for them in every game. If they get it, you think they can sit in, but every time they give up a goal, the first goal, don't look like they can win a game. So yeah, I think if you said Forest and Chelsea at the end of the season, maybe winner takes all. You look at Villa where they are at the moment. Obviously Villa have Spurs and United to play, and if Spurs and Villa are distracted by cups, United look like they'll never win another game in the league. So yeah, it's interesting. And we talk about that big word, momentum, confidence, players off the bench, and Forest at the moment, you'd fear for them, but Big game from, is it tomorrow night? Yeah, big game from.
And with all of the fixtures in there are very few of them, Daniel, that you can look at and say, you know exactly which version of those teams are going to turn up in those games.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be, you can see that there's a lot of head-to-heads for all the teams that are vying for those 5 spots. So I'm just really excited to see them get to work, because it's how they shape up tactically and how the managers will approach these games, given that, you know, some of them may take a point in some of the games, some of them will go for it. I think that last game that, you know, Chelsea, Nottingham Forest is going to be the one that is going to be the most interesting out of all of them, I would say, because it, you know, that game, it's all to play for, literally. Winner takes all. That's the thing, that as a player, you want your destiny in your hands, and you know that as long as you take care of business, that you get to perform on the biggest stage. So it's down to the players to show up and show out.
At least part of the celebrations here at Stamford Bridge today with that win suggests that they think this is a huge game in terms of Champions League qualification. Do you think that it's a big 3 points for Chelsea that can take them into the Champions League next season?
Well, they found some confidence, and it felt a little bit more connection with the fans. I think when Chelsea play at their best, there's a bit more energy about them. When they played against Tottenham, they were excellent. I think when they're passive and they play out from the back, I don't think the fans connect with it. They don't want to see it. They want to see the football a bit further forward with their better players getting on the ball. I felt that, like, Levi Colwell at times today, when he was coming out of centre-back position, going into midfield, playing, you know, and that was energy about it, and that set the tempo. I mean, they had to sit back. They didn't perhaps have the possession that they would normally expect, but that's because Liverpool came into the game. But you always knew on the break they could do something really different. So when you look at the whole title race is shaped with the top 5 title race is going to be so interesting, because you need the right fixtures, you need things to go your way, you need a little bit of luck as well, and players in banging form. And I think that how good Cole Palmer was today, that's going to have a massive impact in the rest of the season for them.
So Arsenal 7 points clear of 6th to play for, 12 if you count Nottingham Forest. The rest of the teams all bunched up very nicely. So is it a bit early to call it for Chelsea yet in terms of where they finish?
No, but it just on the back of today's result, they'll obviously have belief. You see the feel-good factor amongst the players. There seems a good spirit amongst them, and you need your star players to step up at the crunch games. And obviously people like Palmer all of a sudden are turning up. You see one or two Forest players getting a bit tightening up when you see the finishing line, because that's the challenge for players all along. When teams, particularly, we have to look at Forest, they've been going along nicely, but then all of a sudden the expectation is that Champions League is there for you and it's right in front of them and they almost have it, and then you start slipping up and you lose that maybe confidence and belief. You look where Aston Villa, maybe somebody will win out on goal difference, but it's so hard to call. It's so tight. He asking me who I think is going to make it. No, there probably will be some twists and turns over the next few weeks, and that's what makes it so exciting. See Villa win the weekend. I thought that was a really good game against Fulham. I really enjoyed that. They were up for it and they're trying to score goals and there's excitement. Next weekend it could be another twist, could be one bad decision, a mistake from a player, and before you know it, you're out of the Champions League. And any mistake now you're thinking next year will obviously cost you, because you're running out of games. Huge pressure.
Every weekend we're going to ask you the question. Every weekend I'm expecting everybody to give different answers as well.
Well, Enzo, with a big prize at stake in terms of Champions League football, how important 3 points was that?
Very important, especially at this stage of the season. You know, at the end of the season, you need to win games, and against this team that, for me, once again, they show the reason why they are so good. They won the Premier League. They force us to defend deep, something that we don't like, something that we don't plan. But because they are good, sometimes you have to do that, and the players, they deal very well.
So I was going to ask, that was going to be my next question anyway, like, how did you do it today? I wondered if it was deliberate to sort of soak up a bit of pressure and attack quickly, but it sounds like not.
No, we plan the game, trying to be always aggressive, in the opposite side, playing the way we want, but sometimes the opposite is there and they force you to with a different plan. So I think we adapt quite well. The player deal with that very good, and at the end, I think for the amount of chances that we create, we deserve to win the game.
Do you think you were able to give them big problems with Cole Palmer's position? He was massively influential in every single goal.
Yeah, absolutely. Cole, he will be better and better. This kind of moment in his journey in the future will be for sure better and better player.
Did he look like his old self today again, Cole?
I think it was good for Cole. It was good for even for Nico score again, for all of them.
Do you think we saw it's easy to look at it and think you got Liverpool at a good time? They just won the league, but do you think we saw a very good Liverpool team? You beat Liverpool at something close to their best, maybe?
I said already, we didn't plan the game to wait and to defend deep. But because they are so good, they have quality, they are aggressive, they are strong, they are quality player, so they force us to defend deep, and they show how good they are. So for me, once again today, they show the reason why they won the Premier League is because they are top side.
So how impressed are you with your players in the last few weeks, actually? Because it looked a bit, maybe just from the outside, but it looked like it might be slipping away. 1-0 down at Fulham, you won that game, you won again last week, and you're beating the champions today.
Yeah, but I'm very impressed with the players since we start, to be honest, because it's not easy to since day one to try to play in different way, to try to be aggressive, go man to man, no matter what. They are doing very good. Now from outside, I can understand that if we finish top 5, everyone is thinking that they have done fantastic. In case they are not doing that well, but for me, I'm impressed with all of them.
I know this is something you've been asked again and again, but do you think it is vitally important that you get top 5? I know you sort of said it's been a good season anyway, but maybe just with the recent history and the culture of this club, it's a club that wins. So to finish outside the Champions League feels like it would be a bigger disappointment for you than it would be for some of the other clubs around you.
For sure, Chelsea has to fight for Champions League, and hopefully in the future we can fight for something more important. In this moment we are there, and hopefully we can finish there.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Player of the match performance from Cole Palmer there. We have to apologise again for the swearing, but interesting that it came in part of that really emotional answer from him, which I think, Daniel, might be one of the first times that we've seen him look like more than not bothered about everything. He always seems so cool.
I really appreciate how much he cares, and of course, you know, he may be somebody who I feel when he does interviews, he's quite open about how he feels, and you can see how much pride he takes in performing to the level in his mind that he thinks he can reach. I think it's not so much about what everybody else thinks, it's more about him knowing, okay, I've missed chances, like he said. You set your standards high and you want to reach a certain level in your brain, and you know you're not getting there, it hurts deep inside. I've been there. I'm sure the two gentlemen next to me have been through it as well. And when you play this game at a big club like Chelsea, of course there's going to be critics, you know, in the fan base, outside noise, whatever it may be. But what I really liked about him is that he said he doesn't care about it. And of course it might slip through the cracks because you want to avoid it as a player and you don't look on social media and you avoid that stuff. But in the end, there's other people that might be sending you a little one-liner here or there, and you're thinking, I don't want to see any of this stuff because I'm concentrating on me being the best I can possibly be. And he's very proud. You can see he's very proud with that. And you could see his teammates afterwards as well, how happy they were for him because they understand how hard he works behind the scenes. So I can't wait to see where he takes it, you know, in terms of his abilities, because he's an unbelievable football player. And all the top players in the world have gone through difficult periods in their career. So what he's doing now, I can't wait to see where he takes it.
They have all gone through difficult periods, but not necessarily in this moment, which, as he talked about, is not helped at all by everything that goes on social media. And you talked a little bit about how that could filter through to him, even if he's staying off social media. But I want to ask you about this with, you know, due age respect to Roy and to Jamie, because you are such a big presence on social media. How do you get that balance between staying in touch, using it for all the good that it can bring, and managing to kind of filter out the people who don't matter? Because a lot of people just go around trolling everybody, and so their opinion doesn't count. But that's a different thing to deal with logically than it is emotionally.
It's hard to navigate. You know, for me, I was somebody who didn't look at the comments, you know, because I feel like it's important to understand that you've got a core group of people that you have a lot of respect for and a lot of love for, but then also by the same token, you love the fans and you respect the fans and you want their adulation. But at the end of the day, not everybody's going to be kind. It's the nature of the world, and that's what the trolls are out there to do, getting a kick out of a reaction potentially. And I think for players, it's about saying, blocking out the noise generally does mean not engaging in the comments and just trying to stay level, not getting too high. When, you know, you play well, of course you're going to get 1,000 text messages and 1,000 posts are going to be about you and everyone's going to love you. And then by the same token, when you know you didn't perform well, when other people know you didn't perform well, you're going to get hit with stuff and then you're going to shy away from it. So stay level, don't pay too much attention to the comments or anything, and just focus on what matters most, which is playing football.
The one thing that hasn't changed, though, is the personality and the resilience to be able to come back from a difficult period, regardless of where that criticism is coming from. How impressed are you with the performance that Cole Palmer has managed to put in at the end of a difficult time?
I think as experts, we all realise that form is temporary and class is permanent. I know it's a saying, but it's a fact with someone like him, because he's too good a player for it to affect him over that longer period. And sooner or later, his form was going to come back. And you could just see it today. It was oozing out of him. This little one here, when he puts the handbrake on, then lovely bit of movement. And that was in 3 minutes into the game. And sometimes you get a good feeling for that so early into it. Everything was coming off for him. He played with real freedom. He was enjoying his game. His passing was good. He said he played a lot of good one-touch passes. He's helping his team, winning the ball back. They're the aspects, and that sometimes when things aren't going right for you, that's what you've got to do. You've got to go, right, let me be a different player today. Let me work hard for the team, and then things will then come off the back of it. And he always looks to play this pass here. Loved it. And that wasn't that one, it was another one. But no, this is the one. That first time one, beautiful in beside, behind Tsimikas. That little touch there. Everything he did was just effortless today, and it was a real joy, I felt, Roy.
Do you know what? It's just that football intelligence he's got. He obviously needs runners there. We've seen some of his passing. You need people running off the ball for him. But his decision making, many years ago, a great manager said, you judge a player when he's got time in the ball, and his decision making, pace of pass, type of pass, when to go short, when to go long. This was brilliant play again. And again, he's got that bit of acceleration, and obviously stop, go, bits at the end, that quality. And he's a tough kid. You don't get to this stage without having setbacks or dealing with disappointments. Remember, he left a brilliant Man City team. That shows how tough he is to come down to London to make his own way, because he wanted to play week in, week out. He's having a bit of a laugh there, and it's good to see young lads having a bit of enjoyment, of course. But they're under pressure. Nobody likes to be criticised. But again, he's one of these players you'd pay to come and watch him. He's that good, and his football intelligence, absolutely amazing. Brilliant to watch live.
And it's different now. It's just totally... When Roy and I played, the stick you would get would be from a newspaper column, or it would be maybe a phone in on the way home. And you'd listen, and maybe, some people saying how good you were, other people maybe you crit. What we've done is we've given people a window into your life by getting a phone, by getting social media. And when it's good, and you've played well, or you've done something great, you can't wait to read it. But there's that one comment that can cut you to the core if you're maybe just that kind of person. A lot of players, maybe they get their agents to do it or whatever. But I think what he said there was a great example to all young players. You just have to be so careful, because you're letting poison into your life. You're letting people beyond social media and just abuse you. So it's not always healthy, because I don't care how mentally strong you are, they could just say one thing that could just affect you, and it's totally different to say, and it's not just maybe your football, it's how you look, it's what you do. And I think that players have to be so careful on it. It's great to give them a bit of an example of how you live your life and a day-to-day, and that's fantastic. But the other side of it, when people have the ability to just abuse you whenever they want, that's not healthy for anyone, because it's already hard enough being a professional footballer. The pressure that comes with it. The best thing you can do a lot of time is just turn it off and just get on with being a footballer. That's how I see it anyway.
No, and as both Jamie and Roy have said, Daniel, the ability was always there, and that's maybe why, when he's been criticised for games and performances by pundits, there's never been a suggestion that his early season form would have been a flash in the pan or anything out of the ordinary. There was always a belief, certainly from people who've played the game, that he was going to come back to this kind of form.
Yeah, I mean, he's a top player. Last season was proof of that. And I think there's been a positional change. He was playing on the right last season. He's come into the attacking midfield area this year. Probably when you're playing in that position, I've played wide and understand the freedom you get when you're out there. You're probably facing the player a little bit more and you 1v1. Now he's in picking up different positions on the football pitch, so in turn it sometimes is more difficult with your back to play and having to actually help the team progress the ball forward, and you're not so much in those threatening positions that he was in last season, which is in and around the edge of the box. So I think this season, because of the slight positional change, it's harder to impact the game. So I do applaud him as well for actually having the capability, technically, tactically, to be able to say, you know what, I'm in a different position this year, and it took him a little bit of time to get his rhythm, but now you're seeing what he's capable of doing in that position as well, which is a beautiful thing to see. As I said, I really love his style. I love how he approaches football. He's a joy to watch, and long may it continue for him.
And what he has done, when you watch players there who he sets his standards so high, so his difficult spell is still amazing. But what he has as a football, he's got great courage, because we're watching there. He's making angles, he's wanting the ball, and if this is from a player who's having a difficult spell, then I take my hat off to him, because the key is, for being a footballer and you're playing for a big club and there's big expectation, is the courage to want the ball, even when deep down sometimes you mightn't want it in tight areas. He's got that courage, and I take my hat off to him.
Football needs him. It needs players like him. In a day and age where the game has got a little bit robotic, where players will keep it simple, you don't see too many players, too many mavericks, if you like, that we saw throughout many years. It needs someone like Cole Palmer that just does things differently. When he gets it, it's just like time stands still. And I think he's a joy, and we need him, doing what he's doing.
And the hardest part of football, is making things happen. It's all right stopping players, but football's a class as entertainers, and he's an entertainer. We've got to appreciate him.
Yes, indeed. And, we see here, we're talking about him starting the game here, but fantastic, the goal that they score here from him starting the playoff. Lavia's pass, though, in, taking out a few players, breaking the lines. Obviously, a little bit of a shift from Cole, and you see the enthusiasm from Fernandes to get in the box. He's got his hand up already. The cross is actually magnificent. We have to give him credit for that, to feed it into that corridor. The first touch is great on his weaker foot. That's the simple thing in football, that everyone, needs to concentrate on your first touch. Without that, you don't score the goal. So it's a fantastic team goal in the end. Yeah, and great movement from Cole Palmer for this one. Not so great in terms of Liverpool's defending from this one. What's going on here, Jamie?
Well, Tsimikas, he feels like, it almost looks like he loses the ball initially, and then he keeps it, and then obviously does his little bit of skill, and then Virgil just gets in a complete muddle. And obviously hits his own teammate, which is just not ideal. But it's defending we don't normally see. It's uncharacteristic. It's just not how really Liverpool do things. But you can just see there, it's just one of those for Quansah. He's had 3 games, I think, this season. He's only started 3, and he looks rusty. And when things like that, there's nothing you could do. That's just so unfortunate. But after that, he got into a little bit of a spin. It was difficult for him. But you get back into the game, and I thought once they got the 2-1 with this good header by Virgil van Dijk, you thought, OK, you could see that Chelsea were starting to get a little bit edgy on the back foot, sitting back. They might have got that equaliser. Big header for them.
Interesting, quite similar to the Leicester game, in which Van Dijk was involved in the own goal and then went up and scored at the other end. But it was a penalty that put Chelsea beyond reach in this one, because there were chances for Liverpool in the latter stages of this game. But this, as you said, Jarell Quansah, it looked like he was spinning. Yeah, listen, he's had a tough day. Sometimes you bring in a couple of fringe players and you realise where they are fringe players, there's a reason. But again, credit to Chelsea, they're sprinting after him. They're obviously in the last few minutes of the game, and then again, if you want anybody taking a penalty, cool as you like. Palmer never in doubt against a really good goalkeeper, dives the right way. 2 goalkeepers wouldn't have saved that. Brilliant. 3 goals for Chelsea then against the champions at Stamford Bridge, and it's 3 goals that gives them
the team. They're the champions for a reason, but I thought we were showing desire, good fight, and I think we hurt them at times.
Moises, with Champions League qualification kind of on a knife edge, big moments in the season with a lot of pressure, how well did Chelsea deal with that?
Yeah, I think we did well. The team showed character outside, we are happy we win this game.
And pleased to help Cole out by winning the penalty?
Yeah, he deserves, he's working hard to get goals, and now was his opportunity and he scored. I'm so happy for him.
So Cole, you have been working hard to get goals, so how did you feel stood over the penalty? Cool as ever?
Yeah, I just felt normal. Obviously, shit happens. I know it's gonna. Sorry for my like stuff. It happens. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, I went 3 months without scoring, but it just gives me more motivation and more fight to do well, not just for myself but for my team. Like, yourself, social media nowadays is just full of idiots, basically. You know what I mean? Like the trolls and that or whatever. So I don't pay no attention to that, but. To score today, I'm happy, but it's only one, and I've got to keep improving and trying to reach new levels.
So to summarise that, it sounds like it has been a tough couple of months.
Well, for anyone,
no, that's fine. No, absolutely understand. Absolutely understand.
Getting chances, you're not scoring. It's just obviously it's gonna, because you're letting your team down at the end of the day. Personally, I feel.
Is that how you felt?
I feel like I'm mentally strong anyway, so. Whatever people say don't bother me. I've had it all my life growing up, so I don't really care. But obviously I feel pride in helping the team, and if I'm not doing that, it makes me, obviously I'm not happy.
So even before the goal today, you must have felt like you'd really helped your team. You looked like you enjoyed it. You had a big influence on the game.
No, yeah, today I felt like myself I have before the recent times. I felt confident. I was trying things, first time passes, playing forward, not just playing free. And when you got him next to you, it's a dream, really.
Good one. I mean, it's you guys in attacking areas that get a lot of the credit. How good is he?
Wow, machine. Obviously, from the start of the season to now, I think he's been our best player. Yeah, he's a machine. Wins everything back. Always 100% every day. Humble, nice to everyone, and yeah, everyone loves him.
Yeah. Do you want to repay the compliment, Moises? Because this guy, good players have tough moments, and Cole's maybe had one, but there's no doubt in the quality, is there?
No, Cole, he's an amazing guy. Always trying hard also. Yeah, I'm so happy for him. He helped us a lot, even when he didn't score. He helped us. Yeah, he's a great guy, and he deserves everything.
Okay, so Cole Palmer back in the goals, also player of the match, but I'm not sure you actually agree with that, do you?
I mean, I'll take it.
I thought you were handing it over to Moyes.
Why is that?
No, Cole Palmer is the player of the match. Well played.
Congrats, bro.
Well done, guys. Well done.
There's anybody, don't get me wrong, certain defenders, when the ball's there, you have to be here. That's just, certain. But for someone like Cole Palmer, that's a bit of a free spirit, he doesn't want to be tied down to anything. And Glenn hit the nail on the head before the game. He looks like, before today, he looked like he was thinking about it. And when he thinks, it's not a good sign. So, yeah, he was back to his best.
I think the thing with a player like Palmer is that when you're not playing at your best, things start to get like a wall, and they start to enclose in you and within your mind. And then it gets worse, and then he's gone all them games without scoring. Now he's broke the seal, what I call breaking the seal in this game. That can be done in one game. All that build-up of many, many games are out the window now. It's just one game that takes a creative player to really say, I'm back to my best. So it's come at a great time for him. They're in a semi-final of a conference if he plays. And obviously they're playing Newcastle next, who's the biggest rival for them for the top five. So it's a wonderful time for him just to go. He'll forget about all that now. That's out the window. That's gone. That's down the road. It's now, wow, I enjoyed that. I'm back to my best. Can't wait to get out and play again.
What he's got to do, though, Glenn, as well, he's still only reasonably young. What he's got to probably do is learn from this and not feel that enclosed. In future, he can't let it go to 17 games. There are easy wins. When you get experience, there are easy wins that actually get you out of these ruts far, far quicker than an